And we're live. Welcome, everybody, here to the Lakers Lounge. I'm Anthony Irwin. I am joined tonight by an exuberant, an exultant, a thrilled, a sober Raj Chapalu. How are you doing, buddy?
I am good. I think, Anthony, that's my favorite win of the season. That is my favorite win
Really?
of the year. Yes, and
The
I'm
Lakers
sure we'll
beat the
get into it.
Celtics. Just, figure I would remind you.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, but this one feels a little different. This feels that felt more like some hot shooting that was going in. This felt like a really tough one that you had to kind of fight out. But no, I'm good. You said sober. Yes, sober because I can't do these with any drinks in my system. I've tried it out. But yes, I'm feeling good.
I don't know if I can go quite there, right? Because they had the game against the Warriors. It also featured overtime. The Celtics won. Laughing at the Celtics is great, and I guess you get some of that because you get to laugh
Sure.
at Doc Rivers. So like that's always nice. This is certainly way up there. This is certainly like way up there for most surprising wins. Although for those of you who listened to yesterday's game, I went about as far as you could possibly go in saying that like I actually kind of sort of like the Lakers in this one.
Mm,
I wasn't thrilled when I said all of that, and then they came out and was
mhm.
immediately down 20 in the first quarter. That
Yeah.
was less than ideal. But I did kind of think that the thing that I liked about this matchup between the Lakers and the Bucks is that the Bucks are so big that it kind of forces the Lakers to go big. Darvin still found ways to have three small guards on the court a lot throughout this game, and still found ways to go smaller than I thought he should. But like when the going got tough, right, in those overtimes, Rui comes into the game. You have
Yeah.
just a lot of physicality out there. I thought Dinwiddie, even given that he really struggled with his shot, I think he's really kind of getting comfortable in that role of the little things guy.
Yep.
He's really kind of utilizing his length and his athleticism and his kind of understanding of the game to kind of figure out where he needs to be on the court to really help things move along. But we have to. Well, let's start here. You told me when I first turned this thing on, you missed out. I missed out on the playback,
Playback.
right?
Mhm.
And for those of you who would like to watch more games with Raj and me, and sometimes Aaron and our dudes, Rome and Shub, and whoever else stops by, I know True is on there quite a bit too, whenever he can. Mike Trudell, that is. Uh, Here's how this played out. So the game started at 6:30 my time, and that is smack dab in the middle of bedtime, which you're dealing with bath times, you're dealing with like teeth brushing, jammies, all of that stuff. It's just chaos. Ask any parent, putting kids down for bed is just, it is the most rewarding part of your day, but it is a struggle. So I figured I would help out with that, and then by the time the kids were down for bed, I looked at the score and I was like, well, this isn't good. This is not, I don't want to hop on there and just sit there and look angry for most of the game. And right when I made that decision, they made their first run to kind of
Yeah.
get back into it. And I don't know how many people who are watching here are um, superstitious. I am. I am a superstitious guy. I will with golf, right? I will use the same golf. Like if I play a good round of golf, I'll keep that golf glove. I'll treat it really nice, and I'll make sure that it extends all the way through
Mhm.
to the next round. If I play a bad one, it's going in the trash. If I play a good round with the one hat on, I'm going to wear that same hat the next time out, and if not, I'm going to rotate hats. Um, so on and so forth. When I'm watching sports, if the team that I'm rooting for is on a run, I am not moving from my spot. I am staying in that spot. I'm not doing
Yeah.
anything. That's why, as I'm talking to you right now, the glass of wine that I have to my left over here is my first one. It's the first glass of wine that I've had all night tonight because I didn't want to leave the couch because like things were going so well. So
Right.
anyway, as the Lakers are making their run, I'm like, this would be fun to watch with the guy with the guys. But then I was like, Yeah, but what if that throws this off? I don't want to ruin this, because I also would have had to
Yeah,
leave the couch to set up the computer, go find my AirPods, hop on, and then sit there and watch with you guys. I just I couldn't. I was not willing to
right.
do that. I was not willing to risk it. And so I guess what all of this is to say is you're all welcome. You're all welcome. The Lakers won because I took this one for the team and sat out that playback, because I did not want to, like, I've tweeted it out before. While the Lakers are on a run to get back into a game, I've said, nobody move. Nobody, like, whatever it is that you're thinking about doing, you got to go to the bathroom, pee on your couch. You can clean it. You can call a cleaner in. You can fix it. If you gotta, like, if you have an itch on your foot, man, like, you gotta just tough it out. You gotta play that mentally tough game and sit this one out. In this one, the Lakers made their miraculous comeback. They survived 2 overtimes to do so. And yeah, I'm here to tell you that, of all of the heroes in this game, Anthony Davis, Austin Reaves, D'Lo played well in the second half. The most important person from this game, you're looking at him. You're looking. I am right here. My keep is in the cleaners, but I am right here.
Right, right. It's funny because Aaron was with us. Obviously, Aaron Larsoul was doing the show, and then he left at halftime. So obviously, he felt the same way as you, that I'm not messing anything up. The Lakers are on their run. I'm
Yeah,
not going to come back. And why, like, what this kind of reminding me of, Anthony, because this season has been absolute torture. Our largest win streak this year is 3. 3 is our largest win streak, and we surpassed it tonight
really.
by winning 4. But again, tonight it felt like when we were doing those playoff games, right? This felt like a playoff style game, especially in that fourth quarter. Punches being thrown, not real ones, but like punches being thrown back and forth by Dame, by AD, by D'Lo, by Austin, and it felt like a playoff type style of game, and it felt like we're playing games that matter again. So that's why, like, when you were explaining your you didn't want to come to playback, it just reminded me of like those playoff games that we were doing, and we were doing shows after every single one of those, and hopefully we get to do more of those. But tonight was just incredible to watch, and it felt like last season where we were, rooting for Dennis Schroeder to get, fouls in late fourth quarters, and we were having a new team, and you saw Rui come through, and D'Lo played 50 minutes tonight, which has to be his career high. There's no way D'Lo's played over 50
He
minutes
might
in a
not play for a
regular.
week.
Right? Yeah, D'Lo played 50 minutes. Austin put up 47 minutes. Rui at almost 39 in a double overtime game, which probably should have came in sooner. But we're gonna enjoy this game because I thought, that was just a really incredible close, and AD blocking shots on one leg. But no, yeah. So thank you, Anthony, for not for not coming to play that, for giving me this incredible game that can't wait to rewatch.
I just got
Once
texted
we're
by
in here.
a source close to the Lakers who happens to be watching it. I was like, "You are so full of shit." I'm like, you know what? Fair. All right, we have a super comment here, which means we get to play this bad boy. I'm gonna do it again because this is what you do on nights like tonight. Oop, one more time because I screwed up the button. We have this from Justin Tyndall writing, 80 took 31 shots. Don't care about the percentages. Hope that tells them to stay aggressive going forward. Absolutely. Completely agree with the premise of this point that
Yep.
he started the game. He was like 4 of 13 or something like that from the field. Maybe 3 of 13. Was not playing very well. Giannis out physicaled him a couple spots in this game. And the fact that he kept shooting, I really think the fact that he kept shooting, and it helped that he started making a higher percentage of them. He shot 8 threes in this one, Raj. And
Yep.
I really think that, like, when you get more shots, you are going to be more engaged in the game, right? Ideally, you make them, and that helps you stay even further engaged. But I think those games where 80, like in a game like this, given how it went early, I totally thought, I even tweeted, I was like, shit, we're getting that nationally televised bad AD game where Shaq and Chuck and Kenny are all going to say how this guy is not worth this, and this guy is
Right.
this is
Right.
why this, and this is why that. I was like, man, I hope we don't get this game where AD finishes with like 15 shot attempts and 13 of them came in the first half.
Yeah.
But he kept on shooting. 12 of 31 from the field, 3 of 8 from 3-point range, 7 of 7 from the free throw line. He
Yep.
grabbed 7 offensive rebounds, which is like it's one of those stats that is not going to get as much attention, but I think it's the biggest stat from his game. What a game from AD.
Yeah. My favorite part of this, Anthony, as well, just to add to that, 7 for 7 from the free throw line, and then icing the game, right, with the 2 free throws. Slaying those demons, you have to, you have to slay them eventually. And tonight he got a chance. Obviously, there's been some history with AD not being able to hit free throws, but no, AD was incredible, and I just love that point of he has to keep shooting, and just to involve that with how Milwaukee defends as well, right? Milwaukee takes away the paint. They have Giannis and Brook Lopez, and so AD has to take jump shots, especially without LeBron. The offense is going to stall if he's passing up open looks. And you're right, he started 4 for 13. He just kept taking that mid-range pull-up, just kept taking it, kept taking it. Eventually, some of those did go in. He had a big one, I believe, in the fourth quarter when the Lakers were making their run. He started, and what that does also, Anthony, like that you just talked about his rhythm, it allows him to also get into those floaters as well, right? Those one-handed push shots, like he starts to hit those. He starts to get to the line. He starts to accept contact a little bit more. He starts to take these off the dribble and draw fouls that way. And I just think like him shooting 12 for 31, I love the 31 shot attempts. I really don't care how they came. He took 8 threes. That's great. He had a big three, I believe, to cut the lead to 2 or cut the lead to 5 when it looked like Milwaukee put the game away. But yeah, he's totally right. AD has to shoot every single time that he's open, especially on those pick and pop jump shots with the way Milwaukee defends you. They were going over top on Austin and D'Lo, and we're having Lopez and Portis and Giannis all kind of let that little mid-range pop open, and AD let it fly. 8 threes, which mean like another 10 or 15 were from like mid-range pull-up range, and those little floaters and stuff like that he was missing earlier started to go in because he was in rhythm. So no, AD has to keep shooting, and I thought that was an incredible game from him for tonight. And I thought he started off really slow, like he was just not involved. And you talked about the start of this game. It looked like the Lakers were going to get run out of the building. They were down 19. And it looked like the whole team came in with a LeBron is out, so let's just get through this healthy. And Milwaukee just kept the door open. And yeah, 51 minutes from AD. We'll see if he plays tomorrow, but he fought through and got them this win for sure.
Yeah, I think with AD, like this is where you and I being like having grown up with Kobe is kind of where this is coming from. Cause like, all right, 80 isn't shooting the ball very well. But then you look at other guys that like may have been getting those shots. It's like Spencer Dinwiddie goes 1 of 8 from the field, right?
Yeah.
D'Angelo Russell was shooting really poorly in the first half, right? He went 0 for the first half. Taurean Prince, 3 of 10, right? Like nobody was shooting the ball all that well. So for me, I'd rather have my most talented player getting those shot attempts like that. That's just where I would, if everybody is bricking, well, let's go ahead and get the guy who is the best basketball player on the floor for your team, or maybe outright to get that guy the ball. So that at the very least, because we do know that like occasionally AD will kind of drift, in and out of the game. And for me, it's like, no, force feed him, force him to stay engaged, force him to like, especially against Giannis, man. Because once you give Giannis an inch, you're giving up a mile. He is going to just keep running through your chest, and he's going to keep getting to the rim, and he's going to set a tone physically to where you're not going to get a call on the other end because of what he's doing to you defensively. Like, it's just, you got to keep, you got to stay focused. You got to stay engaged here. And Anthony Davis doing that while he was like clearly hobbled in the fourth quarter, right? I think it was his left knee that was kind of bugging him, maybe left knee, left hip, one of those two things. He clearly wasn't moving his best, but he picks up 2 huge blocks on Dame down the stretch. I thought like completely put a fucking lid on the basket for Giannis. Like Giannis couldn't do a thing to him either. And that's Giannis, man. Like this is one of the most physically imposing players that you're ever going to see. And Anthony Davis had him like traveling in the key because he had no idea how to get a shot off on him. It was just, it was one incredible performance for AD in a spot where like, once you go to a double overtime on the first night of a back-to-back, you now have to win that game, right? Like you now have to win this one. It'd be, I'm very much of the opinion that like games take importance, different import levels over the course of them. And I thought that like this one, once you reach that overtime mark, and for damn sure once you go to double overtime and you have AD playing 52 minutes, you have Rui playing 39, Dinwiddie played 42, D'Lo played the 50 that you mentioned, Reaves played the 48 that he did. Once you have
Hmm.
those kind of minute totals going
You got to
into,
win.
a travel night when you're going to play less than 24 hours later, you got to win that game. And I thought that, we'll talk about Austin here in a second, but I thought AD staying engaged, shooting as much as he did, because the other thing too, it has a ripple effect. Like it has like a trickle down effect where other guys kind of see like, oh, okay, well, he isn't shooting now. I'm not. The stars always set the tone.
Eh,
AD being the star, once they see that he's willing to go down guns a blazing, they're also going to be willing to go down guns a blazing.
Right, and that's why I thought this first quarter was so frustrating because it was clear that AD was just not moving. AD, I think Anthony has the biggest gap, at least when you watch him on this team, from like when he's engaged and when he's not. Like he's such a dominant force when he's engaged and attacking the offensive rebounds and feeling good with his handle and his jumper, to when he's kind of letting things go, or when like he's not as engaged defensively. And I thought Giannis started this game, Anthony, 8 for 10 from the field. He finishes 14 for 25, right? So I think he goes 6 for 15 from the rest of the game. Damian Lillard goes 9 for 29 from this game. And think about that in terms of what AD's job is on
Yeah,
defense, right? His whole job is to make sure that not only stop Giannis on the roll, but also hedge enough to kind of let Austin or D'Lo, whoever's chasing, it was mostly Austin
recover.
chasing,
Mhm.
recover on Dame. And he was able to do that, I thought, magnificently, like in the overtime, in the both of the overtimes, taking away that role. And Rui was super physical as well. But yeah, AD, those 50 minutes are not just like a lot of stars can play high minutes, but he's playing two ways, and just all the stuff he has to cover for on the defensive end. I thought, and you could tell he was gassed. The TNT broadcast was bringing it up that he was gassed walking up and down the floor, playing on one leg, and just the trust to late game, you know where it's going. It's going Dame, Giannis, two-man game, and just the trust to have him switch on Dame on every single possession and say, like, I dare you to come at me. And he got two blocks on him, two clutch blocks. But no, AD was running around, blocking shots, getting 23 rebounds. He finished, 23 rebounds, seven offensive rebounds to go with his 34 points. Another game where we beat the Bucks without LeBron, and I thought again tonight it's just physicality in that fourth quarter. You talked about the travels from Giannis, but like what Giannis likes to attack from is on the left wing, or he'll take you from the top, right? And you talked about him going through your chest, and I thought AD was able to. AD is one of the few players, maybe in the league, that can absorb a Giannis contact to the chest and still block him at the top. And I thought he really frustrated him. Giannis only 6 free throws tonight, goes 1 for 6 from the line as well. So AD won that matchup. And I was saying earlier, Anthony, that Giannis takes this matchup personally. And
He does.
I thought what got AD going was like the little uh talk he had with Bobby Portis, like where like him and
Yeah.
Portis were kind of going back and forth and jawing, and Malik Beasley was talking shit all game to
This one got chippy. Like
it.
this
It did.
one, this one felt like, there was a little something extra on it.
Hmm.
It felt great,
Hmm.
man. I like this is the thing. In the NBA, you play 82 games over the course of a season, right? These two
Yeah.
teams are going to see each other twice this year, probably, unless they meet in the finals, which would be a really fun matchup. But like,
Yep.
um, it's really rare that these guys like you'll see a little some extra attached to the game. So when you get it, you really gotta like enjoy it. And in this one,
Yeah.
for some reason, these two teams don't like each other. I think the Malik Beasley thing plays a role in it. I think Giannis, like really, like you said, taking it personally has an impact on this one. And this time AD really matched that energy. And then the way that the last game that they played against each other, I think has a role in this as well. It is so much fun. And I know the league tried to get rid of it with like the dumbass technicals that they were calling earlier this year. But this is the kind of thing, like we were talking about the comparison between the NFL and the NBA now. In the NFL, you feel the importance of every down,
Right.
every single one of them. Those guys are killing themselves on every single play to gain every little bit of an inch that they can possibly gain, because that game is all about uh like turf resistance and leverage and all of those things. And they only play, 17 of them over the course of a season. And you just feel it. You feel the energy. It just like, it just, emanates through your TV. And
Yeah.
in this one, this felt like one of those events, right? And it was great because at this point of the year too, you get non-Lakers and non-Bucks fans kind of chiming in and talking about
Yeah.
this. When Dame had that one foul for 3 free throws, I saw a bunch of people being like, "Oh, come on," that don't have a dog in the fight
Uh-huh.
here. It was just, it was a phenomenal game, and it's the exact kind of product that the league needs to like heighten up. Like they need to show like highlights of this one and show the chippiness and show how much these guys cared, because that's kind of the knock on NBA guys.
Yeah, and obviously I'm biased because basketball is the only sport I watch or
Yeah.
care about. Yeah, I just think like because of just the high scoring, people don't realize just the magnitude of every possession down late in games. And I just love that a guy like Giannis, who's obviously won a Finals MVP, been in a ton of playoff situations, right? I think it's hundreds of playoff games now, or whatever it is. Anthony, when he went to the line in double overtime, and you can feel the tension in the crowd,
Oh
right?
yeah. They
And
showed he
that
was
ball,
1 of 4 from the free throw line. I told
yes,
Jen, I was like, "Oh, he's smoking at least one of these. He's missing at least one."
that ball looked like it was a medicine ball to him. Like he wanted no part of those free throws. And he already takes a long time at the line, and I think Giannis needs a shot clock at the line, honestly. But he
Yeah.
took like 13 seconds per free throw and clanked those. Those were nowhere close. Clanked both of those, and I just love that we got that moment. And again, it's AD versus Giannis. Obviously, that conversation has kind of really leaned heavily to Giannis because of what he's accomplished as a number one the last 2 years. But those two are huge behemoth giants in their sport, right? And they're also two unicorns in their own way. And yeah, it was cool to watch them. Not only we had this conversation last time I was on, but those two guarded each other like in the
Yeah.
back and forth, and I think that was really cool as well. Giannis was on AD, and Giannis stuffed him a few times, and he goes right back, and AD stuffs Giannis at the rim. Those are the matchups and stuff that we're
It was
that
like a
we're
big
looking for.
physical, like they were like literally
Mhm.
like, but it was a heavyweight fight. Like it was,
Yes.
it was body shot after body shot. You saw them both fighting for leverage and
Mhm.
just, I'm telling you guys, for those of you listening who have been lucky enough or who are lucky enough to like go to these games or whatever, let alone get good seats, it is like watching two Avengers go at each other, like AD and Giannis in particular, right? They are two basically 7-footers.
Yeah.
They are both chiseled like Greek statues. They can both jump out of the gym. They move in a way that, like, when you're watching them, you're like, you should not be able to move this fast at that size. And they're
Yeah.
doing it to each other. They're like they're doing all of those things, and they are being that kind of physical with each other. Like it is just like that's where the NBA again has to really lean into. I really wish, like, so the NFL has this thing called the NFL Films, and it's like it's the highlight packages that like the company that's responsible for their highlight packages, and they would put like this kind of old school horn forward music, dun 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 dun
Mhm.
dun 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 dun, dun. And they would slow down the game so you would see like every bit of the contact and the impact of the contact. The olden days, you would see like actual paint flying off of helmets. Like they would find a way to like show paint flying off of the. So you would see like it was just an incredible product. And I wish that like somebody out there has to be like good enough with video editing to do this. Show like that's what you need to do here. You need to get the NFL music playing, the dun 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 dun, dun and show these guys fighting for every inch on the interior and fighting for
Yeah.
every single advantage that they can possibly gain on each other, or disadvantage that they don't want to give up. It was just I'm getting fired up thinking about it, because that is it's the peak of human evolution. Like it's there are no two more athletic human beings on the face of the planet right now at that size, and they're doing all of that to each other for like 30 minutes tonight. It was like a half hour of those guys just going at it. You combine. Oh man, what a freaking
It was
game. What a game.
Yeah, no, and then just last thing on those two going at it, there was I think it was right before the first overtime. Milwaukee had the ball, I think like 3 seconds left, and they called a play for Giannis to catch a lob against AD. And AD holds him up just enough, and there's contact there, right? I saw some Bucks fans asking
Yeah.
for a foul there. You don't call that. Like that's like both of those guys. They showed the replay of that, and it's like this just monstrous battle between these two behemoth giants
Yeah.
trying to keep each other away, right? Giannis is trying to get separation, and AD's like, "No, you're not. You're not leaving. I'm
Yeah.
not leaving your body. So I'm staying connected." And they showed this replay, and you can see Giannis's face and AD's face both like just trying at their best to keep each other off. That was just incredible. I love this matchup, and I was at the last Lakers Bucks game, Anthony, and that definitely came off when in person. Giannis AD when they bump each other, like it's two just monstrous stars going at it. So that was cool to see them again go at it tonight, and both had monster games. I mean, AD 23 rebounds, Giannis I think had 22 rebounds. Giannis
21.
14
Yep.
for 21 rebounds. Yeah, 14 for 25 for him. AD goes 12 for 31. Just two teams trying to will each other to a win, and it was cool to watch them go back and forth.
Yeah, and again, that old school aspect of those guys going for it against each other.
Yep.
That's when basketball is at its best. When you have superstar guarding superstar, and you get the tit for tat for the entirety of the game. That's the best thing that basketball can offer. We kind of sort of got that also, like with
Yep.
Austin and Dame. Where I mean,
Yeah.
Dame is too much of a coward to actually guard Austin, but
Oh man.
Austin was guarding Dame. Austin was running around all those screens, and he was,
Yep.
that's what makes those 48 minutes that Austin played tonight even that much more spectacular. Austin finishes with 29 points, 14 rebounds, 10 assists, had 2 blocks as well, only 1 turnover for the game, 10 of 20 from the field, 4 of 11 from 3-point range, just absolute testicular fortitude shot after testicular fortitude shot from Austin Reaves. And it's funny. I understand some of the frustrations watching him, over the course of a season, especially given the expectations kind of levied upon him this year. But you have LeBron, you have Anthony Davis, and then it's Austin Reaves. When the game gets bigger, those are the 3 guys that I trust. And the third guy there is making $12 million this season.
Yep.
So like, I'm sorry, like when we have all these conversations about whether or not the guy should have been traded for DeJounte Murray, or should he be traded this upcoming summer for so and so, whatever. I'm sorry, you have an absolute freaking junkyard dog who is willing to compete on both ends of the court the way that he did tonight. That's Damian Lillard that he's guarding, and yeah, I think Dame has clearly lost a step. He's like no longer in his prime. Blah 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 blah. But that's still Dame time. And Dame was trying to get his licks in too. Like Dame was trying to go at him. And I thought Austin, like even on the ones that Dame made, like more often than not, when he made a
Good
shot,
defense.
it was Reggie saying, you take that.
Yep.
That's just great defense by Austin. It's better offense from Dame. And then on the other end of it, you have just some of the absolute biggest shots, honestly, Raj, of the season, given the
Yep.
situation. The Lakers are now 2 games back of Phoenix for the potential 8 seed 8 seed. If they take care of business tomorrow, like that game is an absolute monster win. It makes up for one of the just really stupid losses that the Lakers have taken this year. And at the center of it, aside from Anthony Davis, the dude who I felt the most comfortable with the basketball down the stretch was always Austin. That's insane to say about like an undrafted, what is he, a 3rd-year player, who came out of nowhere? Like he has a picture with him with a bunch of cows. That guy shouldn't be that good in that spot.
Austin has a highlight clip of clutch moments in these last 2 seasons that can rival pretty much anyone on the Lakers, right? Big shots, and not just game winners, but shots where you're down 1 and you need a basket to tie it, or you're down 2, you need a basket to tie it, or a last second 3 or whatever. And I'm always, on the playback defending the Austin over DeJounte take, and I know a lot of fans are on the DeJounte Murray, and it's very easy to watch him and kind of visualize him on this team. But we have a guy that not only our stars trust, not only the contract, and the guy that's absolutely comes through, Anthony, in every single big game, big moment. I have zero doubt about Austin Reaves. Other players on the team, we won't mention them, that I have some concerns in big games and in big moments. But when Austin has the ball at the top of the key in late, like we do this in tie games, Anthony, when LeBron is on the floor. LeBron is on the
Yeah.
floor. A lot of games, he just says, Austin,
No, Raj.
run your
It's not we.
yeah.
It's not we who is it is LeBron who is looking at
Yes,
Austin and he's like, "You got this, kid. You got this possession. This is yours."
hundred
What?
percent, 100%,
There's
and
like
that's very
two human beings on planet Earth that he's ever had that kind of trust with. It's
right.
Dwayne Wade, it's Kyrie Irving, and it's Austin Reaves.
Right. Yeah. It's absolutely absurd. It's why I think you have to really think about if you're going to move him. But just looking at his like big game tonight, 29 points, the 10 assists, and people, you just talked about the frustrations he has in the season. Look, if you put Austin Reeves next to Cam Reddish and Torian Prince and also AD and Jackson Hayes, he's gonna have a hard time creating off the pick and roll like that. The Bucks are super physical at the point of attack, especially when Dame and Beasley aren't out there guarding, and they're able to kind of get into you. It's tough to kind of create possessions. We had like 3 straight turnovers, but you put him next to a Dinwiddie who shot 1 for 8 from tonight. But I thought Dinwiddie at least was a
The
nice
one shot
relief.
that he made was
Oh my goodness, just an absurd shot, like terrible process, and
no,
glad
no,
that went
no,
in.
no. Okay.
but no, you put you put him next to a guard that he can have a release valve with, like D'Lo with Dinwiddie, and you can see kind of where Austin really can thrive. Right, he can come up pick and roll, he can pull, and just the Anthony, that Dame three sucked the life out of, I'm sure, the team, of all the fans watching, and to come back
Yeah.
down, we run an inbound play, and Austin says, "Guess what? You got that call on this end. I'm getting the call on this end." Like that takes
He
hella
does to a
cojones
superstar.
to
Oh, you
to
got the superstar call over
yeah,
there? Well,
yeah.
guess
Watch
who's a
this.
superstar?
Just the IQ to be like, Dame has his hand on my hip. He's
Yeah.
chasing me around an inbound screen. I'm gonna pull up, and they're going to call this, and they did, and he got free throws out of it. And by the way, I think Austin also, 5 for 6 from the line, hit clutch free throws to kind of ice it. And he's the one also we go to in late games for free throws as well. Third year undrafted kid, get him the freaking basketball and so he can ice it. No, Austin was incredible coming off ball screens, pulling from three. I think the passing has gone unnoticed to me, Anthony. Like I think he's really improved as a passer, especially off of like attacking closeouts and being like a secondary third playmaker out of those. He's making the right reads. He had the insane like behind the back pass to Torian last game, but like his reads of like okay the where they're helping from on the strong side, who I kick to, who's open on the roll. Like he's gotten so much better at that. And it fits so well with our stars. But another game where he really comes through. Our best wins this year are when Austin. I don't think it's a coincidence that our best
Uh-oh.
wins are when Austin has high scoring games. So, 47 minutes, and a tough
Roger's having
47
some
minutes.
technical difficulties there, so I'm going to go ahead and take over. I do have a super comment here, which means I get to play this again. What am I? It's not me, is it?
I think you. No, I was fine. I think your screen froze for a second.
Oh, come on. We have 2,000 people here. It can't crash right now.
No, you're good now. You're good now. It's moving.
Apologies, everyone, to for the technical difficulties there. Not really sure what the hell happened there. But yeah, I am back. Raj had his time to shine and is no longer here. So I'm gonna go on back to here we go. There's Raj. Raj back. I'm going to go to the super comment that I promised, which means I get to play this bad boy. I'm not superstitious like you are because it brings bad luck. But thank you. Oh, and AD is just amazing. So, clearly, I'm not superstitious enough as we had that, breakup
Right. Yeah.
and what's going on there. But yeah, we were talking about Austin being one of those guys that, like, it's just, for whatever reason, it is a mental, it is a psychological thing. I think a lot of times with these guys and their ability to shine in those moments, and um, Austin is just one of those dudes.
No, right, for sure. And he's also a guy that you talked about our stars really trust, and not even just in terms of his late game offense, in terms of like when he has the ball. It's that. Oh, am I frozen?
Nope.
Oh, okay. I was thinking comments. No, it's not just that, where his late game offense is and like his ability to score. It's that LeBron and he fully trust him with the basketball late in games, right? And even our offense late game is just Austin at the top of the key. You decide where the ball goes, right? Who are you screening for? Who are you hunting in matchups? And Milwaukee's a strangely like really good matchup for us because they have two guards we can really go at. They have Damon Beasley out on the floor, and really the way we came back in this game, Anthony, was Austin kind of on ball with AD or with whoever Beasley or Dame was guarding, and like having him attack and him create an offense out of that. He was getting Rui on cuts. He was getting AD at the basket. And yeah, Austin's just been incredible these last 2 seasons. Really, we've gotten to kind of watch a player that's kind of grown in our backyard and watch him get better and develop. And it's been cool to watch him play well in big games. And a guy that you look down the roster, I mean, it's really Austin, AD, and LeBron that you trust in late game moments. So no, an incredible game from him, and he just continues to come through in these big moments.
The second big three that he hit there, I think it was coming off of, I forget which one. I forget what the situation was, but he shot it. It was the one where he set the pick and then he flared off to the left wing and was wide open on that one. And when he caught it, watch the other Lakers on the court. If you get the chance to catch it, watch the other Lakers on the court. They are all walking towards him. They know what's up. They know when he gets a good look on it. And hell, the like 40-footer that he had at the end of regulation, a lot of the guys on that they had the one angle of the shot from the opposite baseline where you could kind of see the bench, and they thought that was in, where he only had 0.8 seconds to get a shot off running away from the basket and shooting from like 40 feet away. They thought that one was going in. He's just, it helps that he can shoot. And it helps that, like, he is physically capable to step up in those moments. But, the mental, the psychological aspect, I think you could say the same stuff about Rui, by the way, where I loved Darvin going back to Rui in overtime there, understanding that there was going to be physicality, understanding that you're going to have a bit of an advantage, if you bring Rui back in, because he's going to have fresher legs than everybody else. Rui had a huge layup down the stretch of that one as well,
Yeah.
in one of the overtimes. Euro stepping around Malik Beasley, who was there waiting, hoping to take that charge. I really liked what he was doing. I don't think he grabbed any rebounds himself, but you could just kind of see him going into the muck and being able to and wanting to like go in there and throw his weight around. I thought the Lakers had a lot cleaner rebounds in overtime than they were getting down the stretch of regulation. I thought that had a lot to do with the fact that Rui was just out there being a bull in a china shop. I'm going to give Darvin credit. I didn't love starting with three guards, but he finished with Torian at the end of regulation,
Mm-hmm.
and then went to Rui in overtime. that's a pretty rare thing for a coach to do. Normally, coaches just kind of stick with the guys that get them to that spot. And I
Yep.
really think one of the big advantages that the Lakers had down the stretch of the game was having somebody out there who wasn't just absolutely gassed.
Right, and I think Rui had either his season high of 14 rebounds tonight, and credit to Rui to get benched in the fourth quarter. I think again, second or third straight game where Rui's pretty much been benched late in games, and to come through in the overtime. And this was the most like I call Rui our bruiser, like our big bruiser, and like I want him to
Yeah.
play with this physicality and be our Aaron Gordon, like the way Aaron Gordon just fits like glove with Denver's offense and the physicality he brings. I think Rui can do some of that as well, and there are a lot of plays, Anthony. I don't blame Rui for this, where Giannis is like driving down the lane and he's about to take a charge and he just changes his mind like at the last second and gets out of the way. Or he's like, I'm just not going to do it, and Giannis gets a
Yeah.
layup. But I thought in that overtime, he was really physical with Giannis. He had a play where I believe they threw a lob to Giannis, and Rui went up with Giannis, caught it, and then drew a over the back foul. I think it was the first play of the second overtime, that second or first overtime. I don't remember. But yeah, Rui was super physical and a guy that he can cut, and he has the most physical advantages to me anytime he starts next to especially LeBron and AD. He's just going to have the best physical advantage because of who they're going to throw on those two guys. And he's really taking advantage of that. I think he's shooting over like 50% in his last few games. Didn't hit a three tonight, but I love the way he's kind of all those spin move fades, Anthony, have turned into spin move. I'm going to go dunk on you at the rim.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that. Those used to be little mid-range fades, which he can hit, like that's his patented shot. But I love it's become, you have Malik Beasley on me? Oh no, clear out. I'm spinning and trying to dunk at the rim, and I'm getting to the line, I'm getting fouled or whatever. Another huge, like physical defensive game from Rui, which was big time against Giannis. I thought he, helped. There was a travel by Giannis that they didn't call, but I thought Rui did a good job moving his feet. And again, he can absorb a Giannis blow in a way that a lot of other guys can. And even when LeBron's not out there, Rui and AD together are just a nice physical force to be able to combat like a Lopez and Giannis. So no, Rui was awesome. He's continued. He's played really well the last few weeks. I think the injury to start the season kind of had him starting from behind, but like these last few games, especially since he started, the team has been really good. The team has been winning at a really good pace since they've inserted Rui for Torian Prince. So I would have liked him to close that fourth, but he played really well in overtime.
Yeah, I also was kind of wondering where Rui was to finish regulation. Shoot, I was thinking that the other night when they decided to finish with Cam as well. I don't know what it is that Rui does to piss off the coach, so that he always seems to be the guy who gets benched for some reason of that group from last year. And I wanted to make this point as it pertains to Rui. He's another guy that like that group. Well, I think just generally speaking, that group of 6 guys from last year's team really kind of feeds off of each other. And
Mm,
and that's what happens when you have a group of guys that you go deep into the playoffs with. You just develop a different kind of chemistry with. And that's why over the course of the season, when they weren't being trusted to play as much together, there was so much, frustration internally, whether it was with the players or even with other, people in the organization. It's like, we know what they look like when they play together. Can we give them a shot? And they were saying, we know what we look like when we play together. Can we just get this shot? And you see it when Rui has a smaller guy on him. It's like a light goes off on the court, and they
yeah.
really look for him because he is so good at, like you're saying, really punishing those guys. And then Rui isn't really wired to throw the first punch. But once he senses and once it appears that the game is going to be physical, you can really kind of see him go like, ooh,
Hmm. Hmm.
ooh, like, because he's huge. Like, he is just, I saw him over the summer, and I happened to bump into him in person or whatever, not literally bump into him because I wouldn't be here talking to you. He's a giant human being. Like, you were talking
Yep.
about how you saw him next to Giannis, and you're like, man, they
That's not much
are,
difference. Yeah.
yeah, like, look at that. And that's why, and he's another guy that we saw what he's kind of made of in those playoff moments when the game gets tough and when those stakes get high. he seems to kind of be ready and rise to those occasions. And I'm not at all surprised that it's really difficult to sub into an overtime cold,
Oh yeah.
basically, and pick up that intensity and meet it the way that he did tonight. That's why I like that it gets you the advantage, but it's also a bit of a gamble. And also, like, you probably didn't even need to make that gamble in the first place and just play him down the stretch. I don't know what it is that he can do to continue to earn Darvin's respect and trust. But a game like tonight, I do think Darvin is very much like defense forward. If you're a big guy, like, you are expected to play a certain caliber of defense. And I think he gives leeway to guards because he doesn't have those same expectations of them. And I think that's kind of why Rui is kind of come in and popped in and out of the rotation and out of certain situations this year. I think tonight is one of those nights where, yeah, there are a couple lapses or whatever, but overall, when you look at the game, in its entirety, and you look at
Yeah.
what he was doing, especially against this kind of a matchup, you need somebody like Rui out there willing to just muscle and just be willing to get the crap beat out of him, but then also be willing to just meet that intensity on the other end as well.
Right, and Milwaukee, gets a lot of offensive rebounds, a lot of tips, and I think 10 defensive rebounds from Rui. Like, that was ginormous just to be able to help down on the boards. And I think Rui's another player, Anthony, that like, it's very easy for us. Like, hey, who cares about your offense? Go and defend and go block shots, go be a weak side, defender and rebound and do all the hustle stuff. Rui's like, I just got $17 million a year because I can score. Can I get the ball once in a while? Can you run a play for me? And first play of the overtime, and that's just a tough position to put Rui in. But first play of the overtime, we run it for Rui because AD is obviously a little hobbled, and we run it for Rui on the side, and they come in double right away. I think he has Dame on him, and he turns it over. He throws it to AD cutting, and I was thinking that's just a tough position to be in. This game is tight. It's
Yeah.
super competitive, right? For a whole quarter, Rui
I
has to
also
come in
thought AD
fresh
kind of cut that cut short a little bit too because he was kind
a
of
little bit.
tired. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, but that's such a tough position, right? Your two teams have been battling. You know how it is, Anthony, when like it's a close game and the same fives have been out there for so long. Like, a new person can't just come right in and catch up with the rhythm, even if they have fresh legs. But I thought he was able to kind of work through that. But no, Ruiz is a huge part of this team, and I thought his defense again on Giannis and being able to bully out a guy like Brook Lopez. And again, our pick and roll defense is very much based on being able to recover over, have AD, stop the roll. And you need a guy like when AD comes over, Anthony, to block Damian Lillard, you need someone to come down and rebound, right? Because now it's Rui against, and Milwaukee does this very well. Giannis will go set a screen for Dame. Dame will come off, fly off, and shoot. The big will contest, and then Giannis has a runway to the rim, right, for an offensive rebound. And so many times Rui would get in there, and that must be like that's a tough. Even as big as Rui is, Giannis running full speed down the lane, like that's a tough person to go in there and just consistently take body blow after body blow against. And Rui was able to do that tonight. So another big game from him. I don't think, again, it's not a coincidence to me that we beat Milwaukee twice without LeBron, and then both of those games, I think Rui has just played really well in both of those wins.
So we have 2,600 people in here watching one way or another. So to all of you who are watching, please do hit that subscribe button, whether it's on YouTube or if you're listening in the morning or if you're watching on Twitter. Follow me or Raj at Anthony Irwin LA or at Raj Chapalu. And hit the like button, all of those good things. I'm terrible at talking about this. Last thing before we get out of here, I think Prince deserves a little bit of a little bit
Credit.
of something here. In that, like, with him in smaller doses. Now, he did play 28 minutes, and so it's the Lakers did overcome that kind of tough stat. When he plays more than 25 minutes, their record isn't great. Although I think with the double overtime here, that kind of changes a little bit. But being able to basically go from a wing like Torian, who moves his feet a little bit better than Rui does, obviously is a better shooter, right, and gets defended a certain way, a little bit more ball handling ability on his part compared to Rui, to go from that kind of a player to then throw a different pitch with Rui, we could talk about Torian Prince's game itself, which I thought was fine or whatever. But like, this is why wings are so vital to what modern teams are trying to do in the NBA, because you need both of those skill sets. Cam Reddish only plays 7 minutes in this one, wasn't particularly good. It's not like I'm asking for more Cam Reddish, but the fact that you have, Cam Reddish who gets after it defensively on the perimeter, and then you have Prince who kind of like kind of splits the difference between Rui and Reddish. And then you have Rui, who, like, when he plays the way he is, just like clearly the most talented player of the three. But like, the fact that Darvin can have all three of those pitches, it makes the Lakers a very different team, especially, by the way, when Darvin leans on his most talented players, right? And so, like, I was texting back and forth with Matt the other day about the Lakers, and he was like, it's just something about this team. It's really hard to figure out, like, to figure them out, generally speaking. And I was like, yeah, it's because they're essentially bipolar. Like, the Lakers are capable of a game like this, where without LeBron on the road, double overtime, they pick up this tough loss against a good Milwaukee team that actually has a head coach now, kind of. And you watch them do that. And then they're also a team that kind of plays with their food a little bit and isn't able to cover against the Atlanta Hawks just like a week ago. So, like, the reason that I say that, like, this is a team I think I can't quite quit is because of their wing rotation and because of, like, what they can do at those positions, especially if Darvin is willing to allot minutes based on how talented the guy is.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think at least we've got it. I think we've landed on the correct starting lineup, especially with Vando out, and I think that has just pushed everybody, Anthony, into the correct positions. Like, again, Torian 28 minutes tonight. No other person off the bench was really having a great game. I thought Max played okay. Didn't really get much of a shot again. 7 minutes, and I didn't understand Cam Reddish when you're playing a zone anyway. Having Cam Reddish out there to guard Pat Connaughton just didn't really make a lot of sense. So I get why he stuck with Torian. And we honestly made our run when Torian was on the floor, right? The lead was cut from like 19 to 7 with Torian out there and Torian fighting. And Torian again takes some shots where you're like, I'm not sure, like, that should be in the shot. Behind the back pass when you're down 16, just some very flashy moves like that. But I think, like, what this team does have, at least this is what I think our third win where we've come back from 19, and where I think this team just they don't quit. At least, like, this team is gonna fight back. I think that's kind of been their identity, and they can play with their food, as you just said, and they have games against bad teams where, like, it's pretty concerning. But again, I thought a game like tonight is very easy to just lay down, right? No LeBron James, Bucks fully healthy, Middleton back. Honestly, still doesn't look right to me. But you have a healthy Bucks team, and it's very easy to kind of lie down. And I thought, that's kind of been their identity. They're able to kind of fight back. And you kind of compare that. I've been watching these Clipper games, Anthony, and that team just lays down anytime someone punches. Like, that team, like, someone even pretends to punch and they just lie flat on the floor and let them run all over them. It's fascinating to watch. And you compare that with a game like tonight, where Milwaukee got up high double digits, but they never were able to really close the door. Every time it's a little 6-0 run to respond, 7-0 run to respond. And I just want to give also some love, because we didn't talk too much about him. D'Lo, 7 for 22, but puts up 29, gets to the line 10 times. And that third quarter where he comes out blazing, I thought saved this game. We're down double digits at halftime. D'Lo comes out, hits 3 threes. He has 14 points in the third, and really just keeps us afloat enough to where AD and Austin and everyone else can kind of join the party with him. But 29 points, 12 assists, 7 rebounds after a 44 points. I forgot how many assists he had, and a game winner against Milwaukee a week and a half ago that was there for. This is not a good matchup for for the Bucks. It looks like, with Beasley and Dame, just gives him two guys that's it's a buffet platter for him to go out. And I thought he was kind of passive to start this game, but D'Lo really turned it up. And you put two small guards against D'Angelo Russell, he's going to cook you for 50 minutes of this one. So just want to give him some love as well.
D'Lo was what, 0 of 8 in the first half, and then so therefore in the second half, right, goes 7 of 14 from the field, 5 of however many threes that
12
he
threes.
shot in the, well, he shot 12 total, but I'm trying to do his second
Oh, I
half
see.
numbers
Okay.
in my head. Was perfect from the line, 12 assists, did have 4 turnovers or whatever. I thought a lot of them came in the first half. And yeah, it was a bad, I said it, I tweeted, I thought it was a bad D'Lo game in the first half. And, I kind of think, it feels like at halftime, somebody kind of like nudged him a little bit. It's like, hey man, like you just killed these guys. Like we
Right.
just saw you do this, you know? Where's this passivity coming from? Maybe some of it had to do with how he was feeling, going into the game or whatever, coming off of the illness, whatever it was in that second half. You could just tell, and he's another guy. Like again, those 6 guys from last year, they really ignite the rest of the team, right? D'Lo makes a 3, and guys, really feed off of his energy, and Austin makes his 3, and you have everybody doing his 3-point celebration. Obviously, LeBron and AD are going to set your vibes anyway, and then you have Rui there, and it's just like, and when Vando's energy is up, everybody kind of picks up on those vibes as well. It's not a coincidence, guys. Like this is not. I'm not breaking the mold here with analysis on, hey, guys who had success last year enjoy having success moving forward. And I thought, yeah, the way that D'Lo was able to just kind of throw out that first half and come out, and frankly, the Lakers don't, like, not only do they not win without D'Lo playing the way he did in the second half, that goes without saying. But I thought that, like, the key to them getting back into the game was D'Lo scoring the way that he did, right? Those 3
Hmm.
pointers, I think it was in a row,
Right.
that he hit was like, everybody kind of looked just like, oh, okay, all right. So we got him playing the way that he is. AD is still shooting, right? He's still engaged here. Austin, I think, got it going in that second half as well. He wasn't great in the first half. So it was just like, all right, all right. We have 3 guys here going. We can see what this looks like. And again, like, I also give credit to Darvin, I guess, with about 7 or so minutes to go in the game. This is based on what he said in the presser afterward. He basically looked at the guys on the bench and said, all right, we're going to give it one more go. I think you got one more run in you.
Yeah.
Let's see what the game looks like after that run. It was a quick 7-0 run that forced a Bucks timeout. The Lakers got the lead back down to like 12 or so, and then continued the run from there, and got back into the game, and eventually won it. So yeah, and to those of you who saw me kind of, it looked like I rolled my eyes while Raj was talking. I was literally looking up because I have to look up when I do math. That was it. I'm not rolling my. I am perfectly willing to give D'Angelo Russell credit when he plays well. People are like so like adamant that I hate this guy. I don't. Like, I don't hate the guy. I really
Right.
enjoy the way that he plays basketball when he plays it well. I just thought this game is a great encapsulation of the D'Angelo Russell experience. You have a terrible first half, and then you had just incredible basketball in the second. And it's just like
Yeah.
the gap between his floor and his ceiling is just, it's really tough to deal with on a night by night basis. Um,
Right. Right.
we,
Last thing though,
yeah.
I was losing my point. With no, go ahead. I totally blanked on how
All
I
right.
was
So
gonna
we
go
have
off
a
on that.
super comment here from Brandon Olming, which means we get to play this again. I can never play that enough. Like, I legit, like it, like, keep that thing rolling. I appreciate everybody sending in the super comments. Brandon Omeng writes, I don't know about giving Prince playoff minutes. Also surprised no Cam after the first quarter. Why can't Max get his minutes? Lastly, do you trust D'Lo down the stretch? I don't personally, unless he's just like, so tonight he got a couple of those kind of grifty calls, so that's going to helped him get to the free throw line. Although he did have that one drive that should have been a foul. God, I hate this. I'm going to rant on this. So what referees will do, especially late in games, if a foul happens that they don't want to call that would help decide the game, they'll basically just say like, well, I'm going to give the
Right.
offensive team the ball anyway and say that it's out on the defensive team, even though it probably isn't, because I don't want to call a foul there. Right. And it's just kind of like woven into the fabric of the game that's kind of like how culturally the game gets called there. The problem is though, with review operating the way that it does, you have that call being a kind of, what's the word? What's the opposite of the word of the law? The whatever it is. But it kind of goes with like the culture of the game, and then the letter of the law and the spirit of the law. Thank you.
Right.
So the like when you call it based on the spirit of the law there, but review is based on the letter of the law, that's when you're gonna have those situations. And it's happened like 3 times in big positions for the Lakers this year. It happens all the time where a referee makes that call and just kind of goes like, well, it'll be their ball. But the
Hmm.
team knows, well, we didn't knock it out. The player
They can
knows
review it.
who the ball went after him. It's like, I didn't knock it out. And you could kind of see LeBron and D'Lo kind of looking there like, well, what the hell? And I don't know. I think kind of what you're going to have to do is allow a call to be made retroactively that like allows that
Ooh.
call to be made with the letter of the law, or or you have to kind of have like an addition to that play there where like the referee says, look, this is why I made that call. It is going to remain their ball here.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
what you got to do. Like it's tough because that's how this always goes. Like the game gets more physical down the stretch, and you let stuff go down the stretch of a game, certainly on the last couple of possessions that you wouldn't normally. But what that means is that like when you let that stuff go and then it's allowed to be challenged, and that gets challenged based off of like the microseconds, and you're zooming way in to see whose hand it's off of and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
that goes against how that game is being called in that moment. Like they have to find a way to even those two things out.
Eh,
Sorry.
You're talking about the Beasley foul, right? On
Yeah.
D'Lo. D'Lo drives, and I think it's insane. They gave Beasley the benefit of the doubt on a verticality call. Like Malik Beasley at the rim, you're giving him the benefit of the doubt. Like
Yeah,
I
I've
just like
always called him Malik Roy Hibbert Beasley. That's how
right.
I've always known the guy.
Right. Like and D'Lo made the exact correct play there. I think Giannis is at the top defending AD. So D'Lo drives right into he's driving by Dame. By the way, Dame's point of attack defense is just like people are going right by him. But D'Lo goes by Dame. Malik Beasley's at the rim. That's the correct move for D'Lo to go at him, try to score. And he should have, he should have got the foul. And yeah, that's a tough call. I also thought the Dame, foul, or I would have liked Darvin Ham to review it, but that Dame call, like that's another one just in late in games. That's a really tough one to call there. Like Dame is
Yeah.
creating all of that contact, even if Austin kind of brushes it. Dame is the one flailing his legs and his arms, and obviously it's a makeup because Austin gets on the other end. The point I was gonna do really
That was an
quickly after
actual
the
foul though. Like I don't even put
no,
those two in the same category because Dame clearly ran
sure,
into the like to Austin's leg. Austin tried to run away from Damian Lillard.
right,
He like
right, right,
ducked away from him. He's like tried to get out of the way, and it
yeah.
didn't wind up mattering.
No, no, it didn't. And so Austin gets the free throws right back. But I still think both of those are just ones you probably want. And I think that's part you were just talking about the letter of the law. But I think what the NBA wants is the players to determine the result, right? In most cases, in late games,
Yeah.
you want the player deciding the game. And sometimes the player does decide the game by fouling, right? You decided it by
Yeah.
doing a stupid foul. So that's a tough part of it. Really, I remember my point I was just gonna make with D'Lo. You talked about the floor versus the ceiling and the frustration with him. Frustrating thing to me tonight was we just watched this team. You played this exact same team 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Exact same team. You could run the same stuff. Beasley and Dame aren't getting better defensively in 2 weeks. Like you could run the exact same actions, and
And Doc
we
isn't
didn't until
adjusting.
right. Yes, and still seeing Doc Rivers on that sideline, Anthony, is just so nasty. Like it's so weird to watch him take over that Bucks team. But yeah, like all the stuff we were doing last week, where D'Lo, I was there watching D'Lo hunt Malik Beasley relentlessly every single time and get a good shot out of it. I just didn't understand why in this game we were like hunting Chris Middleton. I was like, I know Chris Middleton's just been back, but why are you going at why are you going
Yeah.
at Chris Middleton?
There
But
was a play where like who was it? it was Spencer Dinwiddie had the ball on the left wing with Bobby Portis in isolation, and he passed the ball over with like 5 seconds to go to Austin being guarded by Chris Middleton. I was like,
right.
no. You got him. So I'm like, you can ask Jen. I'm like, go left, Spencer, go left. All you got to do, like he does that thing where, like the explosion, the athletic explosion, actually, it doesn't come on the change in direction. It comes on like the ball is through his legs and then he goes. It's more of like a hesitation versus a change in direction. And I'm like, if you do that once to Bobby Portis, he's going to fall over. Like if he's not a good perimeter defender. You have him in isolation. Just go. And I think that's something that, like, you would like if there were more reps there. I think he would be more comfortable. It was pretty clear that Spencer was not looking to shoot down the stretch of that game. Like he did not want to get shots up other than the one shot that he made. Like he kept getting the ball and he would like drive into the paint and he would like look to like be very clearly looking to kick it out. It looked like Rondo out there. But yeah, that was attacking Chris Middleton, who was like one of the few guys on that court other than Giannis and Brooke. But Brooke doesn't have perimeter defensive chops. Go with the two like tiny people. Go with those guys.
What does it say about our team that Spencer Dinwiddie felt comfortable taking that shot? Like that's what I thought after he made that. Like, what does that say about just our, I guess, offensive identity and just because obviously he made it, so it looks great in hindsight now. But yeah, I just thought that was an insane shot. I think it was like a 3-on-2 fast break. And Spencer Dinwiddie, Anthony, has not made a shot yet that night. He was 0 for 5. 0 for 2 from 3, I believe. And it's a tie game in overtime, I believe. Or is it overtime or fourth quarter? I can't remember, but it's a tie game. I think it's fourth quarter. And he comes down and takes a transition 3. Like
with no rebounders. There was no rebounder down there. It was like either this goes in or you just gave up a possession. I'm telling you, dude. I was watching him dribble up and I saw him like lining up and stuff. Like, no, Spencer, no. Okay. Yeah, great job, buddy. What the? Whoa, what a shot. Like, and I can guarantee you, all 3,000 of you guys who are watching right now, I can guarantee every single one of you who are, other than maybe Spencer's own family, no, shit, his own mom was like, Spencer, like not a single person watching that game was confident rooting for the Lakers.
Yeah.
Bucks fans, like you saw them, they're like back off, Bobby, back off, like let him. Do you see what he's thinking about doing here? And then he shot it because the other thing too is he shot it with the ball in his right hand. And that's actually a lot more difficult to shoot. Like it's actually a lot easier. Like that's why you see a lot of people when they do their hesitation, it's with the ball in their offhand because your hand winds up being on the side of the ball. And then that way your shooting hand just goes straight to the ball and you're already in your shooting motion. The fact that Spence rolls up to the 3-point line with the ball in his right hand, like it was just absolutely a banana shot. Just such a stupid shot that happened to work out.
Terrible process. Amazing result. Not just that, and he's going full speed. Like, it's not like a spot up 3 where it's like, oh no, it's close. He was going full speed, and I think it was like half contested too by Bobby Portis. And he drills it to put us up 3, which it felt like it was gonna ice the game. Then Dane gets that shot, and then I was just like, I can't imagine the confidence or the preaching that Darvin Ham is instilling to the team, where that's a shot that's an acceptable shot in a tight game. Where
I was like best case scenario, he gets fouled here. Like that's the best case scenario. He drifts forward. Bobby Portis is dumb enough to challenge him hard, and he gets a foul here, and he made it. He made the shot. It's just such an unbelievably stupid shot that he made. That was absolutely vital to, like, Raj. The key to the Lakers, like we might reach a point here where the difference between the Lakers being the 9 and the 8 seed might be that shot.
Right, yeah, Spencer Dinwiddie saved the day. Oh my god. Terrible shot, dude.
Oh
Awful
man.
shot.
All right. On that note, that is going to do it here for this episode of the Lakers Lounge. Thank you, everybody, all of you, for tuning in. Again, please do hit that subscribe button. Please do hit that like button. Follow Raj. Follow me. If you want to watch games with us, check us out on All Access Lakers. That is playback.tv/All Access Lakers, where you can find me. You can find my work at LakersDaily.com. You could find Raj's work, hopefully, eventually, and officially here, working on that working my ass off on that behind the scenes. But you can follow him on Twitter, and you can watch his stuff with Lakers Detailed, and again, All Access Lakers. Thank you all a ton for tuning in. Thank you to the Lakers for giving us this really fun game to watch. The Lakers are back in action tomorrow or tonight by the time some of you guys are listening to this in podcast form. They will play the Memphis Grizzlies. I would imagine the Lakers will have LeBron available. I don't know if they'll have Anthony Davis available. We'll keep an eye on that situation. He certainly earned himself a day off. I just don't know if the Lakers, I mean, I guess technically by winning this one, you give yourself the leeway to lose a dumb one to the Memphis Grizzlies, but I would prefer they didn't. We'll see what comes of that one. Also, a reminder, I had Trista Crick earlier today to talk about the Jonte Porter situation. She had a lot of great insight and intel on that situation and the kind of fallout from that. So that is already up in the pod feed, and it is already up on the YouTube feed, so you can check out that here as well. And yeah, until the next time you guys hear from me, I'm Anthony Irwin. That was Raj Shapalu. This has been the Lakers Lounge. Have a great rest of your evening. Make somebody else's, and I will talk to you tomorrow.